How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a video for a build for Muzen, or better known as AMC. This is going to be a pretty fun build. Muzen is kind of known as a troll pick right now. He's probably one of the worst gods in the game. He has a lot of issues with him. He doesn't really have real escape. He does have some extra movement speed with his number one ability, his Hive. It gives him extra movement speed, so he can be kind of quick at some point in the game. But he's very easily ganked. Can't really get away. Is very weak, very squishy. So, with that in mind, I wanted to kind of fix his weakness by making a build that will hopefully make him really, really quick and hard to catch. So this build, while it's not going to be the best build by far, it's definitely not something that I would use commonly on AMC. But if you want an AMC who's going to be moving around quickly and who's maybe a little bit better at getting out of tough situations, you might want to try this build out. I'm calling it the Flying Bee because it's focused a lot on movement speed. There's also going to be a good amount of attack speed. The only thing about this build is the physical power will be suffering a little bit. I try to make up for it with some of the items in the build, but it's definitely going to be focused more on movement speed for AMC, which I think he desperately needs because of how easily ganked he is. So um, we'll get started with the build. I'm actually going to be starting off with Bluestone. So he is kind of a weird mix between an ability hunter and a basic attack hunter. His Hive gives him extra attack speed, so his basic attack is an important part of his character, but I think his abilities are very strong. He's probably the best wave clearing hunter in the game. His 2 clears so well, and so I think Bluestone would actually be good on him, and I think it's this build might be good for him to be aggressive early. Um, so I think because of that, Bluestone is fitting. You won't see Bluestone start very often, and that's why I like doing these kinds of builds that are different, that are taking items that aren't really um, common. Right now most hunters are rushing Transcendence. Again, I think that's boring. It's the same with Doomorb with mages. I find the fact that everyone's using Doomorb to be very boring. So I want to try something different. I think Bluestone is kind of underrated right now. They've changed it. So the old Bluestone is kind of something that I wish was still in existence, but unfortunately it's not. But this item I still think is good, so we're going to start with that. So this is going to help him be aggressive early, get the um, extra 30 physical damage per ability hit. So that's good. And then the next item we're going to do is going to be Boots 1. And then we're going to do 2 mana pots. And then 2 health pots. Okay, so that's going to be your starting items right when you get out of the fountain. And then your first item, again, is going to be the Warrior Tabi boots. I've said this in another video, but Warrior Tabi is just better than Ninja Tabi in every way. I mean, the attack speed actually for AMC would be good, but I think the the 40 physical power is just more important than the attack speed. Um, so I always get Warrior Tabi. I never really get Ninja, just because I don't think the stats are as good on it. So that would be the first item. The second item is going to be something that a lot of people don't use on AMC, but I like a lot. And this is why this item is the main reason why I'm calling this build the Flying Bee. This is going to give him the 10% extra movement speed, and then when he hits a target with his basic attack, the movement speed debuffed is removed from him. So this is going to allow him to get away a lot more quickly. Now, if he's running away from a fight, he doesn't have the movement speed debuff, but if he's fighting, he can back up a little bit quicker. So this is gonna help him, and really, this entire build is to compensate for the fact that he doesn't have an escape, and that's kind of too bad. But this might help him a little bit. Now, the issue with this is you're losing. Let's say instead of Haste Fatalis, you would go Transcendence Boots, and then you might go into something like Aussie. You might get a big power spike early like that, so you're not going to get a huge power spike in the beginning. But his second ability does enough damage anyways, and he also has extra damage from his bees passive, which will do dot damage off of his honey, and he just has a lot of ways of doing ability damage. So I don't think it's a huge deal if you don't get the power spike right away. And then after that, after his Fatalis, we're going to go right into Aussie. I still think Aussie is one of the strongest hunter items in the game. I mean, the price is 1780. That is so cheap for what this item does. I think that's something that definitely needs to be changed. It should be at least 2,000 gold, this item. But it's so cheap. You could even get this second item and get that lifesteal. Again, this just helps him. This is basically his form of defense, the lifesteal. Other than that, he's not going to have any defense really because he's a hunter. You don't really buy defense on hunters, but the lifesteal helps him sustain a little bit longer. And compared to all the other lifesteal items, this Aussie is just way better in every way. Um, so that's going to be our fourth item. Then our fifth item, we're going to go into Titan's Bane. This item is basically going to be in the build to again compensate for the lack of power we have going on. So there's no power on that item. There's no power on Hasten Fatalis. There's 40 on this, and there's some extra power from Bluestone. But this is going to be our first real power spike, and it's also going to give us that physical penetration. Titan's Bane is an amazing item. It's again another item that's really cheap, and I always know an item is good when if I complete the item and then right when I go back I notice the difference. That's when I know an item is good. If I'm buying an item and I go and I don't really notice much of a difference, or I'm not paying attention, then maybe it's not the best item. But Titan's Bane, once you buy it, you notice a difference right away. How much of a difference it makes in the amount of physical power and penetration you're putting out. Because you can just take down enemies with physical protections a lot better when you have Titan's Bane. So that's definitely important. And I put this item in almost every hunter build because I think it's just a great power spike. And then after that, we're going to go into Shin Size. This is another item that I mentioned before in my Arachne video, that it's just so good right now. There's no reason not to get it in almost every hunter build, and you can get it in many different assassin builds as well. This is another item that just allows you to set up your late game to do more physical damage to higher health targets, and even the lower health targets you can still be doing a lot of damage. And it also gives you base stat of 40 physical power, and you get that extra attack speed, so that's great. AMC does definitely do well with attack speed items. He has his hive, which gives him some extra attack speed. So building off of that is really great. Just getting more and more attack speed, I think, is definitely important. So looking at this right now, we have 10, 25%, then we have 45%. So we have 45% attack speed plus the attack speed you get from the hives. Your attack speed is going to be pretty set from now. So you don't really need to worry about it anymore. Now the last item is going to be very unconventional. Not something that you're going to see on most hunter builds, but we're sticking with the theme of the flying bee, and we're going to go with Masamune or Masamune, however you say it. This is a newer item. You're not seeing it very much, at least I haven't seen it that often. This is basically a tank killing item. I've mentioned it in my Arachne build as well, that it's basically meant to take down tanks. So I'll read the passive. You deal additional physical power damage against gods with more maximum health than you, and that's equal to 1 power for every 10 health difference to a maximum of 50 damage. Now, this item I have on here for a few reasons. Gives you extra physical power, 30, which is great. It goes with the theme of the flying bee, so 10% more movement speed. So at this point now, he is going to be a quick bee, and he's going to be tough to catch. So that's why, hopefully, this is making up for his lack of an escape. That's what this build is all about. And the fact that he is one of the squishiest gods in the game means that he has some of the lowest health in the game. You can see if we do the build, I mean, there's no health in this build, but I'll do it anyways, just so you can see this. Oops. So you can see the stats on the left. And I'm not going to include Bluestone because you're going to sell Bluestone by like the fourth item in order to fill the next slot with Masamune. So you can see the health with this build is going to be 1910. It's very, very low. Most gods on the other team, besides maybe other hunters or junglers, are going to have more health than you. So mass immune is going to be great. And this isn't a popular item again because there's no attack speed, there's no penetration. It doesn't really fit with hunters very well. It's more of an assassin type item, but I think it's great. And that's why I think it fits in this build well because I was looking for movement speed items and I was trying to get another item to fit in there, and I think mass immune is the right one. And then so not only will you be able to move faster at the end of the game, but you may be able to take down those bigger health targets, especially if you have like a Ravana or an Osiris or these tanky warriors who are just getting in your face. They're probably the ones who are likely to start killing you mid to late game. I mean, you can kind of get away from mages if you're smart, but those warriors are definitely going to be in your face, and you got to watch out. I mean, one Amaterasu ult on a AMC, and he's dead. So this will hopefully allow you to counter those gods a little bit more, and maybe do even more damage to those types of gods. So that's the build. That's the Flying Bee. Let me know what you think about it. Again, some of the items are not super conventional, but that's kind of the point of this video. Um, as for relics, hunters don't really need to worry about relics that much, but beads is definitely a good one to have. I use for most hunters I go bead sprint. That's like almost a given for any hunter. Sometimes if you have a more ability based hunter, you can go meditation. You can also go sanctuary if you need to. It depends. But most hunters, you're gonna go beads, sprint. That's really all you need. So um, that's it. That's the end of the AMC Flying Bee video. Let me know what you think if you try out the build. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're moving around quickly and not getting ganked like AMC tends to do. So that would be great. So let me know if you enjoy the build, and if you have any other suggestions for builds you'd like to see, please let me know. And I thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye.